Alright, so this is the Adidas Pure Boost. It's from 2019 because I like to save money on shoes. Uh, and it has a very high quality midsole material here called Adidas Boost. It's very squishy, and all the reviews and my personal experience is that it lasts a long time, and it holds up its cushioning factor for quite a few miles. Um, and it's a high quality polyurethane foam, closed cell. It's called TPU or eTPU, expanded thermoplastic polyurethane foam. So very high quality material. Um, Unfortunately, it has so much squish that in this area here, it doesn't have enough tension to support the arch and prevent the development of an injury called plantar fasciitis. Some people call it plantar fasciosis. Either way, if it gets really bad, it turns into something that requires surgery. So that's bad. Um, so what I did was I modified the insoles, and I added, well, first of all, this first layer underneath the original insole is a fabric reinforced neoprene rubber. You might be able to see the fabric a little bit where it's cut. You might see some white circles there. And that did help. The fabric inside the rubber makes it so it doesn't stretch as much. So it's kind of like the belts inside a car. Not exactly the same materials, but a similar concept. And then when I added this thin nylon sheet underneath, it provided even more support. This is very thin. It's 10 mils, which is 10 thousandths of an inch. Uh, and you can see that it warped a little bit on the edge because it stretched actually as I used it, and it conformed to the shape of my foot or the insole, and actually formed a little bit of a compound curve. So in the heel, it curves a little bit this way, and then, well, maybe it didn't curve a whole lot there, um, but it's actually more, you can see it a little bit better here under this metatarsal, which is the ball of the foot. So curves one way, and you can see it also curved this way, although it's warped. So you can see these lines here. That's the tape, double-sided tape I used, which is it's a really high quality tape called 3M 444, which is specifically meant for plastics, and it also bonds to rubber, has enough strength to use for insoles. And I'll put links to all these materials in the description. Now, in a previous experiment I did with polycarbonate, this did not work out very well. So the polycarbonate in this previous experiment, it did not deform. It stayed flat, and it actually hurt my foot more than if I hadn't added it in. And then you can see the tape underneath here. It's the same tape, the 444, and I used a polyurethane foam, which I talked about in another video. I also, in the other video, I also have techniques for doing this. So this thicker polycarbonate which is 40 mils or 40 thousandths of an inch. It apparently polycarbonate may not have the same creep properties as nylon, so it doesn't form a compound curve. It'll curve this way, or it'll curve this way, but not both at the same time. So I don't recommend using that material for this specific purpose. But this may be a good way to deal with plantar fascia problems, and it's really easy to do. So I looked up this material. Nylon has a mechanical creep at room temperature, which is an unusual property, which basically allows self-molding insoles. And the only question is, at what thickness. But apparently the temperature, room temperature and slightly higher, the heat produced by my foot makes it a little bit warmer inside the shoe, is enough to form the nylon and create a self-molding insole. So I did one more modification to these insoles. I added a textured rubber surface on the bottom here. And what that does is it keeps the insole from sliding around when the shoe bends in the forefoot here. It's a weird feeling, and I wanted to get rid of that. Also, having the friction of this textured rubber, it's like combining two beams together. So you get more stiffness when you combine two beams. In this case, the insole and the shoe. When they don't slide together. And if you look at the formulas for beam bending, you can see that connecting the beams together produces more stiffness than letting them slide. There's not a whole lot of stiffness in this shoe, but still, it's better to combine the stiffnesses of both of these pieces to protect the arch. So I'm real happy with these insoles the way they are. I got the original insole rubber that's fabric reinforced, 10 mils of nylon sheet, and then 1/32 of an inch of textured rubber. I do think it would be better if this rubber were replaced with something softer, like the polyurethane foam that I used in another video. So I'm gonna test that out in another video, a part 2, and also try different thicknesses of nylon and see what I find out. But as far as these insoles go, they're pretty good, so I think this is a good stopping point for part 1.